Please try to keep it rubber side down more. 13 broken bones is a lot. You hear your bike like pum 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 pum. Don't give up. More wheeling and you are really dancing. In the end, I kept the bike, kept the boyfriend or the coach. We ended up cutting off the piece of bone and every other physio told me no. And she was like, okay, let's get you back on track. Since then, she's my hero. Pretty much I was going to that cold plunge to freeze the fear. Like, this was the best decision I ever made for winter sport.
Today, we're shining the spotlight on an incredibly talented snowbiker and motocross rider based right here in Whistler, BC. Lucia is best known for pushing the limits on two wheels when it comes to the snow and dirt. With her unique style, her passion for progression, and her commitment to conquering every single challenge that comes her way, she is a true inspiration for women in motorsports. So grab your beverage, get comfy, and get ready to hear about Lucia's story, her journey, her mindset, and what it takes to shred, heal, and rest in the heart of Whistler. And I'll catch you on the other side. So I'm going to start this off. Hey, hi, and hello. Angelisa here, your host for Braap Babe's Throttle Talk. And today I am so excited to be chatting with Lucia. She is a snow bike rider and also a motocross track rider. And I'm just so excited to be chatting with you, learn more about your story. So welcome, Lucia, and welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just so honored and thankful that you're here and sharing your story today because you have such a beautiful story and I can't wait to dive into it. So let's start this off with an introduction on who you are and where you're coming from today.
So my name is Lucia. I'm originally from Slovakia, but I moved to Canada 10 years ago. So yeah, 10 years in and I still don't think I'm going back. It's pretty awesome here.
That was actually my next question is when did you come to Canada? So it was 10 years ago. So that would have been 2014.
Yeah.
Okay.
My first winter here.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us a little bit, because you're into power sports, motorsports. Were you into that type of thing when you were in, is it Slovakia? Yeah.
Slovakia.
Okay.
Yes. No. Absolutely no. I grew up racing mountain bikes, and I was racing in backcountry skiing. So anything without engine, like my body was my motor. And yeah, when I came here, I pretty much just immersed myself into all these kind of extreme sports even deeper. And I figured out that whatever was big in Europe and I thought I'm sandy enough is here just mediocre.
Okay.
So I just wanted to keep like pushing myself and become better and better rider. Yeah.
And can you tell, I'm just curious, for those that have never been, like myself, what is the terrain? So you said like mountain biking and skiing. What was the terrain, the weather, like what kind of seasons did you have growing up there?
Well, it was very similar to what we have here,
Okay.
like all these 4 seasons ideally. Our mountains are quite high, like they're like 2,600 meters is the highest peak. But we had like a little family house like in the heart of the mountains, and that one was probably like a 900 meters elevation, and then the mountain ridge there was 2,000.
Okay.
So I grew up in mountains pretty much. It was almost the same bubble as here in Whistler,
Okay.
but it was in Slovakia, and I was always surrounded by freeriders, skiers, mountain bikers, crazy people. And usually they were way older than me as well because I was just little kids trying to keep up.
Right.
And yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. So you've already like immersed yourself into these extreme sports. So when you transitioned from Slovakia to Canada, Whistler, was there like a little bit of a different, I don't know, like extremeness to it? Like I'm so curious.
Oh, 100%. Like I never saw such big jumps and so well built jumps.
Okay.
You know, this is big difference I think between, well, when I was growing up in Europe like 10 years ago, this is last time I was riding there. But here the level how everything is built is just so much smoother and making more sense, and there is no surprises. Like I traveled to Europe, I was like riding in Italy, France, Switzerland, and like Whistler was the next level. That's why I think I stayed, because I was like, wow, this is like a fairy tale.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. I'm sure. I mean, again, I'm not that I've traveled and explored and tried different areas, but I feel like Whistler. A lot of people come to Whistler maybe for that because there's a little bit more of a rhythm to it, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%, 100%. And maybe it improved. I don't want to put like a Europe in bad light,
Yeah.
because Whistler did big progress as well, like with the trail networks and everything. So
Sure.
maybe it has changed. But when I was growing up there, like, things were much more janky and like, whoo,
Yeah.
just hug and pray many times.
Hug and pray. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I can see that. Definitely, yes, things, progress over time and everyone learns on how to shape things. So I'm sure it's just as, just as good over there too. So you haven't been back since? Or have you?
I go back. Yeah, I go back, but just to visit my family.
Okay, okay.
But I don't travel back with my bike. I did it a couple times, but it's just like bringing wood to the forest.
Right.
I'm already having here such a great community, and I still have, back home, my friends already have babies
Right. Yeah.
and other problems than riding mountain bikes.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fair. That would be a mission too to like bring all of your gear and stuff to a
Yeah,
different country. So I totally, totally get that. Well, that's really cool. So you are residing now in Whistler. Yeah,
full time,
full
forever, probably.
full time forever. Love it. All right. Well, let's just jump into it because the season is changing. I believe we're approaching fall here. Let's start this chat off with talking about snow biking. So you are into snow biking. I'm curious, when did you start and how did you get into it?
So I started 3 winters ago.
Okay.
So this will be my fourth season. And I got into it because my boyfriend, he is really cool snowbiker, and our first summer together we were riding dirt bikes a lot. And towards the end of the summer, he was like, "Oh, Lucy, maybe like you could borrow one of my snow bikes and you could try how it feels." And I was like, "Oh, borrow a snow bike?" I was like, "I can buy one," like at that time you're like so much in love and nothing is obstacle, not even like $12,000 or more.
Right.
So I was just like, I will give it a shot because I want to like I want to try it. It looks so cool. This is probably like the coolest thing you can do in winter. And yeah, so I think like a month or two later, I got my Honda CRF 450,
Okay.
and we slowly like shaped her into being a stone bike.
I see. Okay, and that was going to be my question is what kind of bike are you using for a snow bike?
Yeah, I use a 454 stroke for winter.
Okay.
Just it's there is like a big discussion if two-stroke 300 is enough, and probably is, but it has different power band. I am track girl. I love four-stroke. I To me and my style it suits much better. It's much more consistent.
Yeah.
I just stick to four strokes.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine, to be honest, dealing with a two stroke snow biking. Yeah, I would say with the consistency of a four stroke would be a lot more manageable and maybe even enjoyable.
I have a few friends riding two strokes, and sometimes they get quite pissed off
Yeah.
when I pass them, and I'm like,
Oh, you're struggling? Bye. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so I guess before we continue talking about the snow bike, did you try sledding, snowmobiling before?
I tried it like a couple times for access,
Yeah.
and I think if I would really immerse myself into it, I'm sure I would get a hang of it 100%, because whatever you put your mind into, you just. But for me, snowbike was much more attractive. I just love how, yeah, it's like you can literally dance with it.
Yeah.
You are so easy and smooth, and you know, as well, like to dig it out is easier than sleds. I know because we ride with sledders. So
For sure. Yeah.
It's a little bit less work for me, I think.
Okay, that's interesting that you say that because, yeah, when you get stuck with a sled, usually it takes multiple people to dig yourself out. Okay, so let's say in your, while you're riding, like you get stuck. Do you get stuck often? I'm curious.
My maybe my first couple seasons were a little bit harder.
Yeah,
Now I learned how to use my engine into my advantage.
sure.
So I know where I cannot stop, where I can stop.
Okay.
I know that sometimes with different snow, I use my throttle different ways.
Okay.
You know, on a powder day, you ride different when you have 20 centimeters, when you have, I don't know, 50 centimeters some days. And that's exactly when you stop, how you turn. So I learned a lot. But as well, like if I get stuck, I figured out the ways how I can get unstuck a little bit easier. Like, you know, my first season was pretty much, oh, I just was waiting for someone to come to help me.
Right. And it's a learning curve. Like you're not going to get it like right off the bat. Even I think even in the first season, I feel like it does, take a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
seasons at
Yeah.
least to figure out that. So I'm just, yeah, curious like, okay, let's say now that you've had a couple seasons under your belt, what like do you still rely or not rely but do you still need people to help you dig yourself out, or is it pretty manageable now where you've learned how to do it on your own and you're able to get out or pick it up by yourself?
Yeah. I would say 50-50.
Okay.
Definitely. Sometimes I use if you would see me sometimes lifting my bike, I use my whole
Yeah.
body. Like really, I put my elbow, my arm, my head sometimes,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
because I always imagine what if somebody is injured and I need to get him. So I try to many times just lift it by myself, you know, because I want to be ready for the state of emergency. Because if I cannot be independent, then
Yeah.
I'm not a help, but I'm extra burden.
Yes. Okay.
So even like my gym preparation consists of mostly pulling, pushing, and
Okay.
you know, like in a gym, I do a lot of movements just to be strong.
Yeah.
Not to be strong for riding, like shoulders and upper body, but I really try to be overall very strong. So yeah, but many times as well, I could do it by myself, but we just help each other because we tell that, oh, I will help you now, you will help me later. We use less power, and therefore we are more rested, and we can enjoy the riding better. So we try to help each other. But I know if something happens, there is 80% chance that I can lift my bike until it's and you know, I ended up once in a tree while and the bike was on the top of me. So
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
well, there is. I can just really wait that somebody notice I'm missing.
Right, right. Ooh. Okay, yeah, I guess that was my question too is I know that they're taller, right? And the balance point is a bit higher than a snowmobile. So, yeah, I was just curious how you would push that thing up because I know I would struggle.
Sometimes I really like. I was even in position that I was lying on my back and I just lifted my bike with my legs,
Yeah, okay.
like you know, like a leg press.
Yes, yeah. Okay,
It comes like
I was gonna say that's actually my maneuver for a snowmobile. If I'm on my own and I need to roll it, I use my legs. That's the
yeah.
only way. Okay. Well, I'm like, yeah, I'm so again so curious on how other people kind of like manhandle their toys to see, like what works for you. And I just think it's a great advice for other women out there.
Especially when we are as well like shorter. Like all my friends are quite short. Like you know, we are not giants here,
Yeah.
so you really need to use what you have.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, we did kind of steer off a track a little bit, but I'm curious, or what would you recommend for a snow bike kit? Because that's something that you have to do is you get your bike and then you have to get the sled kit on top of that, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so what would you
Um,
recommend?
so there is a lot of great brands out there. I'm familiar only with Timber Sled and a little bit with Yeti. Yeti is definitely the lightest one that I found,
Okay.
and because it's made of carbon, as well the price range is a little bit higher. I started with Timber Sled, and I remember we were debating between more stable or more playful to start, and I went with more stable because I was like less chances to tilt, the better for me. So I started, I think, with Arrow. It was first generation Arrow, and it was 120,
Okay.
so it was shorter track,
Okay.
just for the reference, now 3 years later, I'm having Arrow second generation that evolved to be more playful,
Okay.
and its longer track is 129.
Okay. Okay.
And as well, there is a difference between the length of the paddles. So my first paddles were just 2.5,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't recommend nothing less. Here, especially where we ride in the zone Whistler and Sea to Sky, we have so much powder. I saw people on 2-inch paddles and they were struggling big time.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't recommend. And then now I'm 3-inch paddles.
Okay.
So I just evolved because I want to have more power, more grip. I can handle now the longer track and still be quite playful with it.
Okay.
As well, they did some adjustments to the frame, so it feels better. 100%.
Okay. So I want to dissect that a little bit more. So let's talk about the track lengths because, again, with sledding, the shorter the track, the harder it is to ride in powder, but the more playful. But then the longer the track, well, you're floating on top and you're able to ride around, but it's not the best for tree riding, especially if you want to, zigzag through there and be quick. But the pro is obviously staying on top and you don't get as stuck as often. So is that kind of the same with snow biking?
I am pretty sure, yes, but I never found, even when I have like a 9-inch longer kit now, I don't find that it would be harder to ride the trees.
Okay.
It's just, I think, really ideally is to start with something shorter
Okay.
because it's just easier to maneuver. If you need to, as well, you adjust the terrain while you ride, where you ride, because, I started not on in the tight trees. I started on like open spaces, and slowly I was working my way into riding more technical terrain. So 120 was just so easy, manageable. Like they even make like a S version that is even shorter, like height wise. It's like a shorter.
Okay.
So my boyfriend had, for example, S because we are both shoulder riders.
Yeah.
I didn't get S because I didn't get deal for that one.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
And but now when I have my new track is S, so it's even though it's longer, but it's shorter, so I can, for example, put my foot out and like touch the snow a little bit. Like
Okay.
it's a lot of ways how you can play around. Like you lose somewhere, but you win somewhere
Yeah.
else.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
And then my next question was going to be, have you modified your snow bike to make it custom to you? If so, what are the mods?
Lots modifications.
Okay.
So some of them are mandatory or very recommended if you want to protect your bike.
Okay.
So you get engine blanket or engine cover to protect it from the snow. Then you get thermometer and thermostat to prevent it from overheating.
Okay.
So thermostat does its job, but you still keep an eye on thermometer, so you install it somewhere you can see.
Okay.
So for example, when we ride on long access road, let's say we go on a glacier day, and we don't have these things that are like putting your snow in the air. You guys have on sleds these little things that are scraping the snow and like
Yeah.
spraying it, sort of. I don't know how it's called.
Oh my gosh, I had
But
snow scrapers or something. The dangles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we don't have it. I think now the new timber sled already has it, but mine doesn't. Yes, so sometimes we need to stop, pull over, see the temperature is 200 Fahrenheit and more. That's the danger zone. So then we put some snow and like grab the bike to cool it down a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, engine blanket, you have the thermostat, and then these two would be like mandatory in my opinion. And then I got the heated grips
Okay.
because it's so good to ride. When you ride, the snow is spraying. You want to have your hands warm.
Yeah.
And then after hitting a few trees quite intensely, I installed the handguard.
Okay. Okay. So I guess you would have to install that afterwards too.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't have trail bike. My bike is
Right.
track bike.
Right.
And even though I don't ride it in the summer, it's still like, I always love the look, how the bike looks clean without the handguards.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't care how it looks if it saves my fingers.
Yes.
One more thing, and this is the last thing I adjusted, would be the pegs.
Oh.
So the pegs, because the usual pegs, they have small holes and the snow will have tendency to freeze there and create little snowballs.
Yes.
So we actually got a deal because my boyfriend has a snowbike rental company. So we got a lot of deals through C3s, and we are very grateful for that. And pretty much all the aftermarket parts are we would buy because they're just designing the best things for snow bikes, and they make as well amazing bikes with the big holes so the snow wouldn't get stuck in it
Okay.
and it just falls through all the time. It's just like a frame of a peg, pretty much, and it's very spiky.
I would not have thought of that, but I do understand how that could just like cause, yeah, a bunch of ice and it would just become like snow.
Oh, you want to hear the gypsy tip?
Yeah.
So my first winter, I was like, I'm not gonna spend $300 on a pegs. So we put a tube from a mountain bike,
Yeah.
like the bike tube,
Okay. Yeah.
because it's rubber and it's slick. So we put this like a condom. Super ghetto, but I saved like I don't know a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then the snow wouldn't be getting stuck because it just would always slip off. So I used this for like a first winter.
Okay. And did it work?
It did work. It
Okay.
did work, but
All right. So for those that are, looking into snow biking and you want to save a couple bucks, there you go. Just get a
a couple more.
Oh, that's so funny, but like awesome. I love it. Like if there's yeah, cuz all of this stuff when you're modifying your snowmobile, modifying your snow bike, it costs a lot of money to throw these extras, right? Like so
Yeah.
yeah, if you can save a couple bucks at least for the first couple years or first year.
Yeah, exactly. Like really, those first two things, engine blanket and thermostat, are mandatory because you want to keep your bike protected,
Yeah.
and all the rest is just for your own
Yeah.
comfort.
Right.
So you can decide how much you want to treat yourself and how comfortable you want to be.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I love that tip about the pegs. Oh, that was awesome. And actually, like, my next question would be what is one tip you would like to share when it comes to riding a snow bike for the first time?
Oh, but again, there is like
Yeah.
more.
Okay.
So if you're really going for a ride, I would recommend, the bike chamois, that like a padded underwear mountain bikers
Oh,
use.
yes, yes.
I really recommend this
Okay.
to be comfortable because despite of great materials we are using for our one pieces,
Yeah.
your ass gets wet either way. Like, and I really find that chamois makes things more comfortable.
Okay.
As well, like my friend was, for example, having brand new Honda 450 last season, and the way how they designed the seat was much more square. He was having his ass like a baby. I was I was sending him links for like to use like a baby powder.
Oh, no. Oh,
To
it's a thing though. I swear I have an episode about protecting all your lady bits and your butt down there, Like this is an actual thing. So, interesting. Okay.
yeah. And I'm like a super like I like to take care of myself and be as comfortable as I can. So I use the chamois. I use the Makov cream. That's like a lotion.
Okay.
That's again like having like all these nice herbs.
Yeah.
And it smells delicious and it make everything down there just like nice and smooth and doesn't cause any rubbing.
Yes. Okay.
Or then there is that cheap one that is like a blue for babies, Penaton or something like
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
I found that Makov, the chamois cream, works the best.
Okay.
It's like maybe $20 or 30,
Yeah.
but it lasts several seasons for sure.
Okay, and so this is going to be maybe TMI, maybe too much information, but let's say you have the chamois, and then do you apply the lotion before you go out, or is this like immediate after? Okay.
No, before I go, so it's like all protected. So even if my skin would wrap,
Yeah.
it wraps with that balm,
Yeah.
and then it just feels amazing.
Okay.
Like, if you want to have TMI, my boyfriend sometimes use it after, and you just hear him screaming because of the mental.
Oh my god. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, I love it. But it's great advice. This is so awesome. And I'm loving that we're diving into this because I do think it's important and no one talks about this. I would not have known.
So much. And I see this because sometimes we have like friends who are just like borrowing the bike from my boyfriend, or we have like, and then they complain midway through, and I was like, oh, this is such a good thing if they would know before, because then they have their experience better, why would suffer and be like, oh, every time you try to sit.
Yeah.
So these were like pre-ride tips, and then riding tips are definitely like you'll definitely use the full potential of your throttle.
Okay.
Like on sometimes you start to ride and you hear your bike like pum 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 pum. Don't give up, because many people are like, oh, it's lost, it's gonna stall.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I always tell them, look how much potential in the throttle you have.
Yeah.
You can literally use the full grip.
Right.
Full throttle. This is no joke. Like on a dirt bike track, if somebody would tells me, oh, just wide open, I very rarely would go wide open.
Right.
But on snow bike, many times I go wide open.
And is that because it's, snow versus dirt? Like snow, it's just you sink a little bit more, you need that power to drive through it?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly because of that. And then what is very useful as well, when you stop your bike, a lot of people have this habit, just step out, foot out. But you really want to stop, squeeze your brake so the bike sinks. So these 2 seconds will help you and prevent you from stopping, foot out, flip the bike, and then you'll do your deadlift.
Okay.
So if you squeeze your bike, the bike, like if you squeeze the brake, the bike sinks. You literally feel how it sinks a little bit, gets stabilized in that snowpack, and then you can foot out and get out.
Interesting. I have heard that
Mhm.
before too. So I guess, yeah, you're right. It will sink just a little bit. Love snow for that. And then you get off. So yeah, it's the complete opposite of what you would think. Yeah. Okay.
Or what would you like to do?
Yeah. And I am also curious. I tried a snow bike, maybe it was 2 seasons ago. And I was standing. And then I think it was Rachel. She's like, "No, you don't want to sit. You don't want to stand. You want to sit. Do you sit the entire time, or are you standing?" I'm curious.
So I think trends change,
Okay.
right? When I started, we were always sitting down pretty much, except for the jumps.
Yeah. Okay.
But now, if you would look, I noticed it already last year, maybe year before, you see more and more people being playful and literally like more dancing with a bike.
Yeah.
And they are standing more than before.
Okay.
Maybe not all the time. Definitely, like I could see when I took my trail bike, like people who ride the track or trail bikes, and then I see them, they are standing much, much more. But now it's, you maybe stand up like maybe 30% of time, if not more, maybe depending on your level,
Yeah.
or maybe as well the terrain you ride and how playful you want to be. But you stand on a bike because you want to be more in control
Yes.
and have more balance and more power and press. Sitting down, you're a little bit like locked.
Yeah.
So I really think back in days it was more trendy to sit down, and now more and more people as well, like now Sidehill Moto does this like a little side packs that you are even like more wheeling and you are really dancing, and it's just I think the trend has changed. Like it evolves. This sport evolves so much.
Right. And to be honest, when I did first hop onto the snow bike, that's what I felt comfortable with standing, because I'm standing in like enduro and track, like I mean, I sit if I'm like not wanting to use my legs for that power, but I just feel like with you're in the snow, same with sledding, I'm standing the majority of the time. So it just feels natural. So when I was sitting, I was like, this doesn't feel natural.
Yes, and as well, like you feel it like when you ride the whoops, like your bike takes quite a bit of toll. So, for example, when we are on access road and we ride the whoops, I'm just standing up, locking my knees, and just like try to like fly through the whoops.
Okay.
So it's just listen to your body. Like many times, like when we ride technical, I'm sitting down, because I feel like I'm more like like locked on that bike. But when I want to be just playful and steezy and more relaxed, then I stand up, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's great advice. I'm also curious too. Sorry, I'm so curious. I love the sport, and I also like I would love to get into snow biking. But I've heard, now maybe you can like bust this myth, but I heard that it's really hard to ride FSR trails or like on the access roads to get into the zone. What are your thoughts?
Depending in which shape they are.
Okay.
Honestly, my first day on a snow bike was super early in a season, was like November 10th or something. We had like super early snowfall coming at us, and my boyfriend was like, "Oh, you wanna like get ahead of time and just like try it?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, so excited." My God, I was on the ground 30 times.
Okay.
If you ever see some anti-talent, that was me. I wanted to sell the bike. I thought I'm missing something in my brain for the balance,
Aw.
non-stop. And like I was trying to go straight and I was doing turns and he's like, "Oh, you're turning." I was like, "No, this is me trying to go straight." Like I couldn't because like the ski was always grabbing weird ways and like was taking me left, right,
I
left,
see.
right. I was going like a cowboy.
Okay.
No, it was brutal. So, but like of course with experience, don't take your girlfriend first day on a frozen FSR for sure, unless you want to get rid of her.
Pro tip.
But yeah, so this was hard. But now with days in, like I learned how to ride FSRs, and then it depends how big the whoops are. Like I was riding the Rutherford. That can be in very good shape, but as well, like I was in a hurley
Yeah.
on Sunday evening,
Okay.
and it was so gnarly,
Yeah.
It's because like we don't have such a good stability because we have just that one ski.
Yes.
So like I flight a few times. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but and as well, like you guys on sleds, for you is easier to ride through puddles and mats and crossing the creeks.
Yeah.
For us, is again like it's the same mode, hug and pray, or like if something is way too narrow, I don't care. I get my boots wet. I will just push my back through the creek,
Okay.
making sure that only my feet are wet and not my whole body.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
And I just like push it through.
Okay.
Like if it's a small creek, I know I can like sort of wheelie through it. I just like Braap. But if it's something that I worry that the consequences are too high,
Yeah.
I just take it like a doggy for a walk.
Yeah. Love that. A dog for the walk. Yeah, great advice there. I think that's again, hearing from other people how the FSR driving just to get into the zone is probably the hardest part for a snow biker. And I have seen quite a few snow bikes break down on the FSR, not even making it to the zone. But I'm curious if that's like a temperature issue.
That's exactly why I really encourage people to get a thermostat and thermometer so you can be regulating it and you can see what's going on. Because as we don't have this snow spraying us and spraying the bike and engine and radiators, and it just gets overheating because you just like, in a high revolution. I'm pretty much going on FSR fifth gear wide open.
Okay.
And still I'm going quite slow when you look at me as from perspective as a sledder.
Yeah.
So, or fourth, depending if that turns even third.
Right,
But
yeah.
the point is that I'm still really like engaging the engine a lot.
Yeah.
And as soon as I see it's 200, pulling over and wrap it in snow, start the bike so the snow a little bit melts and gets into those parts that need some cooling, turn it off, put some more snow.
Yeah.
But you will learn this with like trial and error, but you don't want to blow your engine.
Right.
No.
Yeah. It's the same. Yeah. Same with sledding, like if it's overheating, which does happen often, like especially on the FSR trails, you pull over and throw some snow on. So it's good to know because I wasn't sure with everything so exposed if that like throwing snow on the bike would be damaging the bike. But I guess that's where that snow cover comes in as well for the engine.
Yeah, for the engine that's protected from the snow, and then all the rest, it doesn't matter. It's like rain, but it's a little bit colder.
Yeah, that's fair. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all of that. I think that was really good and a great introduction for women that are wanting to get into this sport because I think it's the coolest thing. And again, I would love to get my own. I'm hoping to demo one from backcountry. That's like my goal. That's been my goal for the last couple seasons. Last season did not work whatsoever. So
you can come with us. You can run with our company as well.
Yes, it's gonna happen
for sure.
This year. It's gonna happen.
100%.
Okay, so you've already talked about your local riding area a little bit, but for those that don't know, what is your local riding area?
So I live in Whistler, so it's like really we have so many opportunities where to ride. We have quite many zones we can choose from. Sometimes I feel like if I would travel like Revelstoke and stuff, It's like you just go, but it's again just, I don't know. I still have so much to explore here that I don't feel like I need to travel. I would like to see other zones just out of curiosity, but my favorite zone here is just 5 minutes from my house, as I live at Green Lake,
Okay, yeah.
and our favorite zone is Cougar Mountain because it's like a lot of tight trees, quite steep terrain. There are some natural drops, and then we have one more zone called Proud,
Okay.
there's like a mix of like open fields and again like you have some trees and some tighter areas and some steeper zones there, and then you can go on a glacier around here, but I'm not really, it's not very tempting to me. It was fun like maybe first season when I was just learning,
Right.
but now I'm like I'm just burning my gas.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that actually. That's something that needs to be talked about is the extra gas that you have to haul, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
so
if you're doing a glacier run, that's when you would bring the extra gas, correct?
yeah. Well, we always, it's usually we counted like your couple. Usually we always go right with, I always go right with someone. So per two snow bikes, we have extra 10 liters with us as a spare.
Okay.
On a glacier, if we go, sometimes we have 10 each,
Okay.
just in case something happens or somebody forgets their gas
Yeah.
or, yeah.
And where do you keep your gas on your bike?
So you can put it on the, when you have that track on the top of it, you have like a little, I would call it tunnel, but I'm not sure if this is the
Yep.
proper word for
Yep.
it. And like you can either design something that will like hold it with the straps, or there are some already made, ready just to install on your kit.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And then some people I think have it as well in front on
I was
handlebars.
gonna ask. I've seen that.
Because yeah, because then you don't have to be doing the job, it just does itself. But I like my the way how my bike is feeling when I'm riding it. I wouldn't like to have extra weight. I don't know, maybe it's like really designed the way that you don't feel it very much, but I think if I would change it now, it would frustrate me probably,
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think if it's working for you, even with the gas at the back, makes kind of more sense to weight it at the back than the front. But again, I'm no.
yeah, because you just drag it behind, you don't know what's going on there,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. That it
It's
just
like,
it mentally it makes sense, but who knows? Okay, well. I'm curious because you started jumping and dropping. You're talking about Cougar Mountain. I do know a few, good spots. Not that I've hit them, but I've seen our friend Steph Sweezy drop quite a few really gnarly ones. So, at what moment did you decide that you wanted to start jumping and dropping on your snow bike?
well, I think I decided the moment I saw my boyfriend hitting the huge jumps. Because it's like the sexiest thing in the world. But no, for real, like, you know, even when I'm riding the motocross, the most funny part for me is hitting the jumps. Everything is okay, you can do the sick turn and stuff, but to be in the air, that's when you feel like you're really living. And on a snow bike, it's multiplied, because imagine when you ride the dirt bikes on a track, you still hear other engines raving around you. But when you are out there in a backcountry and you are in that air for a moment, like everything is still. Everything. And then you just like put again gas for the landing, but you literally like you feel the adrenaline, you feel your heart somewhere completely different place than it is. And you're just like, whoa, and then for the landing. There is nothing like this in the world. Like, imagine like I grow up skiing, and after I got my snow bike, my skis are just for sale.
Oh, I hear you and I feel you. You're so passionate about this and it's really exciting. Like your vibe is definitely like attractive and so I can feel that energy. I understand it. That's really cool. So yeah, you've been jumping and dropping basically like once you start to learn your snow bike. What do you prefer? Building jumps or just finding natural drops?
Finding natural drops,
Okay. Yeah.
because the day is limited. Like we always think, oh, in spring we'll come and build some sick kicker, and then spring comes and we ride our bikes again. So
Isn't that
we want to get better, but
It definitely takes it takes a day where it's like you just tell the entire crew, this is what we're doing. We're going out to build a jump, and like pinpoint where you want to build it, because you're right, like when spring comes, you know, other sports are there, and it's really hard to like motivate people to do something when you could be enjoying something else. Not a lot of
Yeah.
people like building jumps. It's one of my favorite things to do, to be honest, but
Well, you can come with us.
yes, I definitely
You-
like spring riding is my favorite, and I feel like I haven't been riding. Well, I haven't been riding much, so let's do that. Let's like book a day where we build a jump and everyone.
And you will come with Snowbike.
Yeah, yeah.
You will come with us and Snowbike.
I'm slightly nervous about that, but I would love to. That's like
No, you will be so good, trust
Yeah.
me. If you can ride their bikes, like that's the thing. Like I saw people trying snowbiking before they knew how to ride their bikes, and I wouldn't recommend it. You need to know how to use the gears and how to use the clutch. It's impossible to learn it.
yeah,
Just there is so much to learn just to be snowbiking. Then to learn as well how to shift the gears, you need to be really fast. You know, your reactive time had to be like 0.0 second. You know, like
Right. So you would recommend for those that are thinking of, you know, snow biking to have a little bit of experience on how to shift gears, how to work the clutch?
100%. 100%. Otherwise, you will not have a good day. You will just waste your money,
Yeah. Okay.
honestly.
Good to know.
Like, I saw it happening, and I don't think it was a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, there is a lot of options. You can... Everybody has their bikes, you know. You have a lot of friends who have maybe their bikes. Just tell them, hey, I would like just to go on the road, and can you just teach me how to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and back? You know, this is one day you spend on dry. And then you can go, because you just really need to know how to shift as well. Like, you know, people use different boots, you know. I saw people with a snowboard boots on a snow bike. That was a freaking miracle. They could just shift the gear with it, you know.
Right. Oh. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to get ahead of myself, but that's something I want to talk about. Let's just hold that thought. Okay. Let's,
We come back.
yeah, we're going to come back to that because I want to know more about the boots. Remind me, because I don't have that in here. But okay. So let's just talk about, what are your goals for this winter of 2025?
I would like to stay healthy, number one goal, you know. And then I just would like, I have some really cool jumps in my mind already for a couple seasons. And I couldn't execute them last season because of the snow coverage. We didn't have enough snow. And then it was too much. And then we were not snowmaking anymore.
Right.
Yeah. And I really would like to become even like a more steezy and more playful with my bike.
Okay.
That's my like very self-centered goal, but yeah.
Well, that's a great goal. I think those are, you know, a great goal.
Life goals.
Yeah. I mean, last winter was pretty much a write-off, right? That was, not that I got out very much, but it wasn't a good one.
It was like I think it was like a battle of catch-up. It was nothing, and then suddenly everything came in like a week or two.
Yeah. You're right, because I want to say, like, we connected in March or end of March, and you're like, oh, it's so good right now. Like, you were enjoying the snow so much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember that. Yes, and I remember we had a couple of days that I was riding, I'm not joking, handlebars deep.
Okay.
Like, I have a picture that we stopped in the downhill, and we got stuck in the downhill and the snow, and we were not in a, how is it called when you have a little funnel or something, you know? Sometimes you can end up being in the wrong part of the slope and funnel.
Right.
This was just regular slope, nicely even surfaced, but it was just so much fresh snow.
Yeah.
Like, that was the day I realized, I can ride snowbikes for real, because if I would be in these snow conditions 2 years ago, I wouldn't get through 500 meters probably. It was really hard day, like really non-stop, and very smart about how you turn, because you need to open the turns much more. You cannot really lean the bike. Like, it's a different style of riding. It's so much, it really comes with experiences, so.
Right. No, that's fair. Next is motocross, but I'm curious, because I have gear for motocross, but I want to know, what gear do you ride for snowbiking?
gear like a clothes brand or what style of?
Yeah, like well, not you can talk about a bit of the brands, but I'm just curious because we're talking about boots. Like, what kind of
Mhm.
boots are you wearing and why? And then also, do you recommend a mono suit or two piece? Like, what do you find to be the best for snow biking?
So I am wearing men boots, Tech 7.
Okay,
The only reason I don't go Tech 10 is because they don't make this small size.
right.
I like men boots because they are higher,
Okay,
so I find it's better protected.
okay.
Like my leg is better protected because I broke my leg before, and it was exactly between the spot where I had my knee brace and my women boot,
Okay.
and I broke it exactly like where it was like sort of overlapping weirdly, and I snapped the bone there. So since then, I'm not going back to female
Yeah.
boots.
Okay.
So and I use again you, it's another gypsy tip, but I use my motocross boots and I use neoprene socks.
Okay.
Like Endura brand does neoprene fibers in their socks, so the foot stays nice and warm even though it's wet. So I put one foot warmer, neoprene socks, and I go to ride like this with my motocross boots, and I have perfect grip. I'm so used to be in this style of boot whole season, so there is nothing to adjust or oh weird feeling or soft boot, because you can buy a snow bike specific boot from Climb, I think,
Okay. Yeah.
and they're much warmer
Okay.
and they're as well a little bit shorter, like
I see.
you know.
Yeah.
So even another reason why I like my motocross boots is because when I have my knee braces and I'm so skinny, the boots are actually holding the knee braces in a.
Right. Holding them up so they don't slide down. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So I think if I would be on the boobs with a climb boots, I would have them like a shin guards instead of the knee braces.
Interesting. Okay. Well, good.
So that's why.
Good to know. So,
Yeah.
okay. So you are riding dirt bike, motocross boots in the winter. You already told us you're using neoprene. Neoprene. Is that neoprene?
Neoprene.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a
Yes.
fibers. It's like a. So it's like still like a normal stock, elastic and tall
Okay.
or long.
So you're wearing that. I'm just like, I'm a cold person, but you find that that keeps everything warm for like a
100%.
full day?
100%.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because I put a foot warmer,
Uh huh.
so on the top of my toes is foot warmer.
Okay.
I'm set for life. I can stay overnight.
Okay. Because,
Because I always,
oh, go ahead.
yeah,
No, no, no. You go ahead.
I always have extra foot warmers with me in a emergency kit. So if something would happen, I'm literally set for overnight. I
Yeah.
was not joking.
Yeah. Which I would also like to get into what you pack. But as far as the boot, again, super interested because when I saw you wearing your motocross boots for during our social ride last year, I was blown away. I was like, "Are you kidding me? You're wearing your motocross boots." And so I guess let's talk about it. Like ski or sorry, snowmobile boots, snowboard boots. You're not going to be able to shift with those.
You will, but you will struggle and you will be missing to shift your gear quite many times, I
Yeah,
think.
I
I saw people doing it and they survived.
survived. Yeah,
It's just again how comfortable you want to be
yeah,
and what is more important for you. It's like a little bit like maybe sometimes my feet get cold for like a couple hours and then they defreeze and then they are happy for the rest of the day. It's enough to get your bike stuck and your body is, you don't need nothing. You're suddenly hot. So really pick your battles,
yeah,
pick what is important for you. If you don't have this issue with knee braces, I think a lot of people are happy with the snowbike specific boots or maybe sled boots because they're much, much warmer. But me, because I know I have already one issue and I just love how stiff my motocross boots are, even when I'm hitting the jumps or when I'm doing something technical. I want to have as much support in my feet as I can,
yeah.
and that's why.
Okay.
If this makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, it does. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. I think you're right. I think it just makes sense, for those that have tried it on with a snowmobile or snowboard boot. Like when I tried it, I was like, oh, wow, yeah, it is harder to do those things. So, really great tips, really great advice. Oh, and do you recommend like a mono suit or two piece?
monosuit, but just because it looks cooler.
I agree. Awesome. And you talked a little bit about your pack as far as what you bring, just in case if things, if you are staying in the backcountry. What would be your like top 5 things that you recommend on people bringing up?
Well, I always tell like try to team up as well. Like, again, like I have advantage, we are usually couple. So I take, for example, first aid kit and he would have the crevasse as rescue.
Okay.
Just in case the bike fell somewhere that is really hard to get for us to push it back up on the trail. It can, like I saw bikes disappearing, like we ride close to some rock and there was like such a big hole, the guy just disappeared. I looked to my right and he's like meter and a half lower.
Nice.
Suddenly the whole snow collapsed because there was no snow around that rock. So that was super scary.
Yeah, I bet.
So I just like try to distribute the weight among us. So Crevasses Rescue is really very helpful and know how to use it, of course. First aid kit, pretty much. My first aid kit includes things that help you maybe to survive somehow overnight. Probably you will not be very comfortable, but then I have like one super big puffy jacket always with me, regardless it's spring riding or winter. I always have something that's like super warm. And once I was in situation that I came home at like 4 o'clock in the morning. It was not on snowbike, it was on skis. We did like a spearhead traverse and we had some technical issues and we just decided kept coming. And I was having all my layers, including that huge puffy jacket. And when we were thinking maybe we should just like dig the bivy and try to sleep, I was like, I have nothing more to put on me.
Yikes. Yeah, yeah.
So you really need to be thinking, if you have like 5 people or 4 people riding, like make sure that you guys, at least like 2 of you, has something like to stay warm because somebody can get injured. And then you need to keep that person warm. And many times search and rescue comes the next day because a lot of accidents happen after 2 p.m., and by the time they would come to get you, it's dark. So I have always extra food with me. And I started to take like okay, this is weird, but I'm taking the beef broth with me.
Okay.
Like nice and warm hot soup.
Ooh.
That's just the liquid.
Yeah.
And I find that many times, people just eat snacks and sweet and all these power bars, and you at one point you just don't want to even smell sweet stuff. And then that salty soup is really so good because it's warming you up, and as well it's something salty and it's good. It prevents you to lose more minerals, because it's salt, so you don't sweat as hard.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And then, I have extra warmers always with me and like space blanket that's included already in the first aid. Yeah, there is a lot of little things, that maybe I don't even think now, but I have it naturally.
Right.
But for me, great help was that I grew up backcountry skiing. So a lot of these things are always in my backpack. If I'm skiing or if I'm snowbiking, it's just there.
Okay. That's good to know. I love the bone broth or the beef broth, like again, would not have thought of that, and that's such a great tip.
Oh, it's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, especially if you are cold. And yeah. Well, we're almost at an hour and we've just been talking about snow bikes. I know. See, like time flies. Are you still good for time?
Yeah, I have notes today.
So, okay, we talked about snowbiking. Now I want to switch gears to motocross. So let's talk about when did you start riding motocross? I'm assuming it's kind of the same time as snowbiking?
Almost the same time. Okay. So that is like a long version, but I'm trying to make it shorter.
It's all good. We're in no rush.
So I got my first dirt bike like 5 years ago, probably. It was super old dirt bike, always broken, always in a garage. It was like 2007 or 2005. Didn't really work, and unfortunately as well that summer I broke my radial head on mountain bike. So that bike was just really, I just sold it the next season, and I was like, I'm gonna get a new bike. Let's start. Let's have a fresh beginning.
Yeah.
And I got 125 YZ two-stroke, amazing bike. Too bad nobody told me that when you're on a two-stroke and you downshift, the compression of the engine doesn't slow you down.
Right.
So my third ride on it, I flied out of the turn on the track and I broke my leg.
Oh my God.
That was the one with the female boots. And then I was like super upset. And then I reached out to my current boyfriend and I told him, hey, like, can you please like spend a few hours with me teaching me the basics on the bike, because I'm either like selling the bike and not touching this machine anymore, or I'm gonna learn to slide.
Yeah.
And in the end, I kept the bike, kept the boyfriend or the coach, and 3 months later, I got a new 450.
Oh,
So
450. Oh wow.
that one was already for the winter.
Okay.
So
So do you switch your motocross bike then to winter mode?
no, I stayed one more year on the 125,
Okay.
and then I got 250 for the summer.
Okay.
I I just really love the consistency of the four-stroke and how the engine. I'm much more like a tank. Like, and the bike is exactly vibing me. It's like pum 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 pum.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
Um,
Amazing. Okay, well, what a story. You got the bike, you got your coach, then ends up being your boyfriend. Oh man, what a romantic way of starting motocross. Oh, I love it. So you got some coaching done. Did you find this might be, you don't have to answer this, but just off the top of my head, like how was that? Like how was the coaching, and then all of a sudden, like, relationship starts from there. Did you butt heads at all? Did you like, sparks flew? What happened?
yeah. So in the beginning, people usually like to coach me because I'm very coachable material. I'm like a super nerd. I want to be perfect. I'm doing the drills more than I'm requested.
Okay.
I'm like really super on it. But it's funny that you mentioned this because when we became a couple, definitely, I'm less coachable material suddenly.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my god. Like, we are making fun of it now, but Alvaro many times would mention that, oh my god, I remember like your first summer you listen to everything, and now you have something to say, everything I tell you. And my favorite is when he tells me something to do, and then I'm trying, like, we are on the track and he can see me like trying to, I don't know, do the wheelie over the hole or whatever, and then I see I miss it, and he's like, oh, I can just see his arms in the air, like, complaining I cannot do it, and I call it, and me in my head is like, oh my god, opera again, like, it's just like, yeah, definitely, don't let your boyfriend to coach you.
Okay. Another pro
Not
tip.
recommended.
Okay. Well, I mean, clearly he did something right, and then now maybe, yeah, not so much. That's awesome.
No, it's different. You have different kind of respect for your coach
Yeah.
than you have for your loved one, because you are much more courageous to tell him things.
Yes.
And as well, you are much more open. I think you're much more shareable instead of coachable.
Yeah. Yeah. My husband and I are the same. Kenny, like, not that he's really big into enduro or stuff like that, but he can do like a log hop, no problem. And then when I do it, he's like, hey, like, you need to do it this way. And then I'm like, but that's not what I was taught by somebody else. And then we're like butting heads, but he's so natural when it comes to doing these things. So I find like we're always butting heads, but like I love riding with him because he's a lot of fun. Yeah. But when it comes to coaching, it's not always so easy.
Yeah, like I still try, but now I have my opinion, Before I just listened and now I tell. But I try. I always try. It never happened that I would say something, I'm not doing this drill because I find it's not good.
Yeah.
I always sometimes we have a little conversation prior.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I'm curious, have you done any races? I think you've done a couple, but...
I've done a couple, and each year I'm telling myself I will do more. But I'm riding for real. I'm riding dirt bikes for 3 years, and 2 summers out of them, no, 4 years dirt bikes. Okay. But 2 summers out of them, I'm out because of the injury. Unfortunately, and then I take it. My Joker card is already taken. I cannot get injured second time.
Right.
Some
Well, let's get into that because that would be my next topic with you is your injury. So can you tell us your season was cut short, and I think your injury happened in June. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, so I refractured the collarbone that was injured exactly 2 years ago.
Okay.
At that time, it never healed, and they kept just telling, "Oh, come in a month, come in 2 weeks, come in a month, another X-ray, another X-ray." I have like probably 12 X-rays of the shoulder from 2 years ago, and I think like 4 months later, the doctor just said, "Oh, it's not gonna heal. It's non-union," and that was it. No more conversation about it. I was like, "Well, can I do my sports?" And she's like, "Well, you can slowly get into it." I was like, "Well, I'm a snowbiker. My season started already. Like, I need to know if I can do it." And then I went to see another doctor. I went for a second opinion, and he said the same. It's non-union, but he said just go for it, and if you break it, we will do something about it.
Okay.
So this is amazing to start the season knowing that it's not healed, and as well I could feel it like in the beginning of season, like it was a bit flexing, like it was more like a jelly
Okay.
like than a real stiff bone.
Yeah.
So that was weird, but then I kept riding with it and I built quite a good muscles around, so it was holding very good for a year and a half. And then I had the smallest crash in the track. It was a washout. I crashed like this million times, and I just felt the snap again. And I have 13 broken bones. I know this sound. Like, it's one of the worst sounds. Like, and then I just lifted my arm and I was like, okay, we're going to hospital. And Alvaro is like, oh, but you just came to the track. I was like, yeah, my bag is there. We need to go. I broke my arm again. So, yeah, it was super disappointing because, I had big plans
Yeah.
and I was super excited. And it's just, I'm super happy that we found a solution. Like, we ended up cutting off the piece of bone. We didn't put any plates or screws. So, and I was informed about this style of surgery like 15 minutes before the surgery, before we didn't think this will be the solution.
Right.
So it was super scary because I couldn't do my research that I love doing research and asking people. And like, I have few people who are like physios, so I would at least know their opinion. It sounded just super scary, knowing that my collarbone is 1/3 shorter than it should be.
Gotcha.
And I was like, maybe I will not be able to ride my dirt bikes anymore because God knows, like,
Yeah.
but she's back.
She's back. She's back. Well, I remember when that happened. I feel like you had such obviously big goals. We've talked about it before. You were pushing, you were driving, like doing really well, and then that happened. And I know that that was such a devastating thing for you. But I would love to know what did you do for your healing process during that time?
Well, as I said, like I had quite many injuries behind. So I do the usual, like first I have some grief time and I'm super grumpy and you don't want to really talk to me. And then 10 days later, probably, I just make the list of things that make me happy. And then I look at the list and see what I can still do. There is a lot of things people can paint, people can read books, listen to podcasts, go for walks, go for hikes. And then again, it depends what kind of injury you have. I try to still exercise the parts of body I can. Like, I'm not going to be just sitting on my bed waiting for a miracle to happen. So I try to strengthen the rest of the pieces of the body that were still okay to train. And I caught up with the friends that they're not in my like a sports circle. So it's so nice to see people outside of this bubble as well, because usually they're my between season friends.
Right.
And just once in a while I knock at the doors in the middle of summer.
Yeah. Yeah. That must have been
So,
nice though. I do think it's important to still reconnect or connect with your non-riding friends. So that, I mean, as much as it sucked, I'm sure there was some, positive that came out of it.
yeah, it makes you realize that how many great people around you have.
Yeah.
And like my boyfriend was super supportive, and Like I tried to do everything I could to be back as fast as possible. Like if you would see my regime, like I was doing things I hate doing, like drinking green juice, no coffee, oh, like vitamins exactly scheduled. Like I am super nerd about these things since I have the background of racer. So I always try to be back as soon as possible.
Which is very interesting because I feel like, okay, so when did this happen? Like, do you remember the date? I'm sure you do.
22nd of May.
22nd of May? I thought it was June.
No, I had surgery June
Oh,
10th.
June 10th.
The
That's
surgery
what it was.
3 weeks later.
Okay,
Yeah.
so May 22nd. What was your when was your first day when you came back?
My first day back was exactly 12 weeks after.
12.
Exactly 12
I
weeks.
feel like that's a pretty like quick comeback, you know? Like thoughts?
It's true that, yeah, it's quick. Yeah, it was quicker than anybody would forecast.
Yeah.
100%. Like I saw three different physios until I found the one that was like, okay, we're getting you back. Because I was like, I would like maybe to do one more race and in August.
Okay.
And every other physio told me no. And she was like, okay, let's get you back on track. And she gave me the hardest workout I've ever seen in my life. Like really difficult and many intense days. And she's like, if you can handle this, you're ready to
Oh,
ride.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And since then, she's my hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she gave me the green light
Aw.
like 3 weeks earlier, at least 3 weeks earlier than anyone else.
Wow. Oh, big shout out to her. That's awesome.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure like as you said, your regimen, like you were on it, you had everything scheduled, you had like that focus, talking to somebody that's going to support you and be like, yeah, let's get you there. You know, all of that will get you to your goals a lot quicker, right? Rather than having
Yes.
somebody like doubting it, being
Oh,
negative.
it's super important. Even with doctors, I went right away. Like I had again, like they originally always send you from Whistler Hospital. They always send you to certain doctors here in Whistler. And when I heard her on the phone, and she told me, "Well, maybe you should change the sport." And I told her, you know what? Maybe I should just change the doctor. And I hang up on her.
Yeah.
How somebody here in Whistler can tell you to change the sport?
But
Like, we live here, we do so many sacrifices just so we can live our dream. And I know it's super superficial, we are not saving lives, we are just riding motos or whatever sports we do. But still, this is what we chose to live for, you know? And I noticed I was talking to several injured people, and many times they met some doctor who told them, maybe this is not for you, maybe you should grow up, maybe you should change the
oh my
profession.
god.
One female friend, her doctor, female doctor, told her maybe you should become a full-time mother. Yeah, just to drop the physiotherapy she was doing as occupation because her shoulder was popping out.
Okay.
Can you imagine that? Even like, okay, if it's a doctor, some jerk, I understand his ass, but a female would tell this to other women that we are supposed to be encouraging, pushing, helping.
Yeah.
I was like, from which planet is this woman? Like,
Yeah, you're right.
no. No, I don't want to be negative though. Like there are a lot of great doctors out there, and you just need to find the one that resonates with you and has the trust in you and is on the same page. That's the whole point of this
Yeah.
negativity was just find someone that vibes with you and trust. Like I went to Vancouver for my doctor. You know, if you need to do that, you know, but you have the solution you want to hear, and because if you trust the doctor, then you will heal much better than if you don't trust the
Yeah.
doctor as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. And I'm, you know, for those that are listening in, I'm sure maybe even experience bad doctor, not bad, I shouldn't say that, but doctors that might be shedding the darker light than the positive
Yeah.
light. Um, wow. Well, I'm so happy to hear how, you know, you bounced back. You're back at the track. It's been so much fun following your journey. I'm so stoked for you. So actually, I want to know, you've always been healthy, like a very fit woman. Can you tell us a little bit about your routine when it comes to fitness and nutrition?
Okay. So yeah, pretty much I try to ride as many days as possible, and as my body can handle. So that's usually 3 days a week. I'm riding snow bikes or dirt bikes. And all the rest of the week, I'm either in the gym or trail running. I used to have as a complement mountain biking instead of running, but then I found it to be too much in this position with shoulders like this and back, and
Okay.
I just found that running feels a little bit better, and as well it helps me to organize my thoughts and plan. I love to do my plans during running,
Okay.
and then I try to schedule one day a week not to do any sport or do like a active recovery day. So I just do some yoga or stretches, or I go with some beginner rider and I'm just like teaching them either mountain bikes or their bikes. Yeah,
Okay.
but
And then
that's
also,
enough.
do you have any healthy habits you believe that women should adapt into their daily routines?
Yeah, so definitely strength training, super important. As well, the older we get, the harder for us will be to build the muscle mass and to keep the muscle mass. There is amazing woman, Stacy Sims. She's a, I think she's a doctor, but she does a lot of fitness studies, and she's super big about how important the strength training for women is.
Okay.
And she really recommends, for example, sauna,
Okay.
that it's much better for women in opposition to, for example, cold plunges. That I was the biggest fan of cold plunges because it felt so good for my muscles
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
And she said that for females and for our reproductive organs, and as well for the recovery and for the gains from the workout, she would recommend if you want to do cold plunges, they should be either before workout or 8 hours after workout,
Okay.
and then do sauna right after workout. And that's so weird because it depends. If you want to go to the race next day, or like for some other heavy workout, in that case, yeah, go after training, go to have the cold plunge. If you want to just quickly recover. But if you want to gain something from that training, she says it's much better to go to sauna, and it will be much better for your overall gain from it.
That's so,
Does it make
yeah,
sense?
that's very interesting. I actually saw, I think it was on TikTok, there was a doctor as well saying if he could pick cold plunges or saunas, he would pick saunas. Not that cold plunges aren't great, like they're still good for you, but saunas have a, I guess, more of a, more benefit, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And like she explained it the way, like, because when I was training and I was younger, we were always told by my coaches, never go to sauna after heavy workout because then acid lactic goes everywhere. You don't want to even like it spreads more and deeper into your muscles. And then the next day you are even more, don't want to say, it's harder to train the next day. And now she says that maybe you will be struggling more, it will be harder feeling recovery, but benefits would be much more.
Okay. Huh.
So
And
yeah, I'm just experimenting with it now, and it's
yeah.
fun.
Well, I know you do a lot of cold plunges, but just hold that thought. So when you said Stacy Sims, is this a
Yeah,
podcast?
she is guest on many podcasts, but as well she has a book Roar,
Okay.
ROAR, and I just love how deep she goes into women specific physiology, because a lot of trainings out there, that I don't want to say men and female are so much different, but many things, even she takes in consideration the period or menopause, premenopause. She like goes through in that book through different cycles as we are evolving as women, and I just found it super super useful. And there is another lady on Instagram and on Spotify. Oh my god, Dr. Lion. I don't remember her last or the full
Okay.
name, but she is again like big advocate for female strengthening, and like, yeah, it's not that the women are scared of being Arnold Schwarzenegger anymore.
Yes.
It's like now women are proud of some muscle mass, and it will protect you. It's good for your bones because we lose the bone density, and it's just helping you to protect your overall health, I think.
Yeah. Overall health, and especially like for our sports. Like our sports are very physically demanding, and you gotta you gotta build some muscle in order to toss things around for sure. Yeah.
Yes, and being tossed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's talk a little bit about cold plunges. Now, I know I don't have that in my questionnaires for you,
No
but
problem.
you are like the cold plunge queen. Tell me about like your journey with cold plunges.
Well, I started to do cold plunges exactly after my big injury 2 years ago, when it was super hard mentally for me to come back to the track. And it sounds weird, but pretty much I was going to that cold plunge to freeze the fear. And I just always visualized it like my fear, like, okay, it's a bit weird, but I visualized it's like transform into icicle and then I just pink it away.
Okay.
It's gone, this fear. And it really helped me because they say that if you already do one hard thing in the morning, then all day feels like, oh, I did already something hard,
Yeah.
So everything else might seem a little bit easier to do. And then at one point it becomes not only like it's not hard anymore. I think it's just more like you just feel so great because the dopamine release into your organism is incredible, like because you push your limits, you are in this discomfort zone, and then after 3 minutes you get out and you just feel like those little like needles, and you just feel so amazing and so revived. You just wake up second time, of course, like because you feel like so hype. And yeah, I cannot imagine not to do cold dips anymore. It's just a part of me. Like even this morning when I was like, phew, like I feel like a little bit sleepy. Maybe it would be great to jump into the lake and just like refresh, and it refresh your mind. Yeah, I recommend to try it, and you don't have to go for 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Like you can go just for 30 seconds and just observe how you feel. Get ready your favorite tea, maybe. So it's something is waiting for you that you are looking forward to as a reward,
Right.
and it's crazy, but now there are like some meditations or guided meditations on YouTube for the cold plunges,
Okay.
and they would even like guide you through the breaths, how to count the breathing,
Okay.
and then how you immerse yourself in the water, and then the style of breath you do in the water. It's just a lot of accessible tools out there. Yeah, I recommend to try it. I always thought I hate cold, and look at me. I'm in the water in January.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I remember you doing that. Yeah. Kudos to you. I'm still like, haven't converted. My husband's always like, you should be doing this. You'll feel so much better. But I'm like, I get like, I physically can't. I do like the cold shower. Like I'll try to have
Yeah.
the cold shower. They say to put it on your chest first and then just like kind of go in. But even then, like I hate it. I'm like swearing the entire time. you know?
But the cold showers are difficult because you don't have nature.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's
Okay.
completely different.
Yeah, I guess. Hey, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, because like when you just see those tiles around you or shower curtain, you are like, you just focus on what's bad.
Right.
But when you go out there and you're like, oh, trees, oh, this is the mountain we ride, oh, this is the sun, oh my god, how I feel the sun is hitting my face, even though the rest of my body is freezing. There is a lot of little magical things going on
Totally.
there.
I would not have thought of that. That's yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay. Okay. One of these days. Awesome. Well, I absolutely love it. And do you find that doing these cold plunges, it has really helped with your recovery with your injuries?
Yes, I just feel that it helps the inflammation to cool down, and as well just because it makes you happy.
Yeah.
And I'm not making it up. It releases your dopamine. And the good thing with cold plungings, if you take anything else that increases your dopamine, the thing with dopamine, it always goes back below the threshold.
Okay.
Always. If it's cocaine, chocolate, sex, whatever you do, you always go woo woo. But with cold plunges, I don't know what kind of chemistry going on there, but you go up, and the lowest you can go is back to the
I
threshold,
see.
but not below.
Okay.
So it motivates
Yeah.
you. And that's very important because if you're motivated, you want to work harder and you want to work on yourself, you want to get better, you want to study more, whatever is your goal. It's just harder to do it with motivation.
Yeah.
And dopamine helps that a lot.
Okay. So interesting. And I love hearing your perspective on that. So thank you. Okay, just because we are an hour and 20 minutes, but I do want to talk a little bit Self-care days. What does that look like for you?
Well, for real, I just eat a lot and I don't do nothing.
Amazing. Sounds like my
This
kind of
is
day.
terrible to say.
Okay.
But like I have some naughty food I love to eat. Like I have this since I was like going a lot to the gym and they have like a cheat days,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I did this like after a race when I was racing. Always I had my favorite food after a race. It was always pizza, chocolate, ice cream. You know, it was mandatory. It was like a ritual, and I still do it. Like I just eat what I love. I don't plan no one
Okay.
because usually I always try to have some meeting and like I'm always rushing to go somewhere. My self care days is just me and books and podcasts and walks and
Amazing.
Netflix. Super selfish
No,
day. It's not self care day, it's selfish
yeah.
day.
Oh my God. I think that's what we should call it from now on. And I absolutely love that because you're right. Like we can be on the go trying to meet all the people. You know, we sometimes feel that FOMO when we're like, I should really be going here. But it is so important. You said it to like have a you day and just like be present with yourself. So
Yeah.
important. Oh, love it. Okay, so we're gonna switch gears here. So you've officially completed your 12-week program with me. Oh my goodness, congratulations. I will be sending you a certificate this week. I'm really excited to
Oh,
like package it all together for you. You've learned about content creation, storyboards, and using tools and systems to help with, content creating, branding yourself, and like working with or how to work with potential sponsors, building relationships, that sort of thing. So what is your biggest takeaway from this 12-week program?
well, I never thought it's such a hard work. It was like the biggest marathon of my life probably.
Okay.
12 weeks was so long. You were super super awesome and supportive as
Oh,
well.
thank you.
If it would be someone who is not so approachable and so easy to communicate, and I went through the struggles, like I asked you for the break as well because I couldn't, I was not the happiest person, and as well I didn't have too much to talk
Right.
about.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And you were super understanding and very knowledgeable. It was, I just learned so much, like really, even like how to be consistent, because I always took Instagram or social media just the way to inform my friends, not to create new friends. And it's unreal that even like people from other towns are now reaching to me and telling me, oh, we should go for a ride, or you should come to ride with us in winter. Like, I never thought that somebody would, like, this would create such an impact. And I'm super excited to use these tools for like in the future 100%, like because as well my boyfriend has a company and he's terrible on the social media, so I told him that I want to really help him with it because it's just fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the creative part.
Yeah, well, you're such a natural when you're doing these things, and I absolutely love your take on like seeing more of your personality and like some of your funny content too. Like it just, I feel like your personality has come out so much more. And I think you're right when, you're building a community, all of a sudden you have people kind of reaching out to you. There is an impact there is an influence. I think you're, the perfect person for the Sea to Sky to be of influence in the motocross and snowbike community for sure. So it's been an honor to work with you, and I just absolutely love seeing you shine and, creating this fun content. It's been a lot of fun working with you.
Oh man, yeah. But honestly, like, I'm so happy it's over.
Yeah, I bet. But
No more
I
homework.
know, I know. It was a lot. But
No, but it's awesome because without you, I would never push myself to do it. Never. I would give up 300,000 times.
right.
You
Yeah.
know? And you need to have someone to keep you responsible and hold accountable.
Yes.
This is how you guys say it. Without it, it either really needs to be like in your bloodstream and you need to be natural for it. But as well, like, I love that you put me outside of my comfort zone because my accent, for example, in the beginning, I was feeling quite like shy because of that, because I thought that, oh, how people would understand me when I talk on camera. And I actually figured I really like
Yes.
it.
And yeah, like that's part of who you are. That's a part of your branding, Like a lot of people think branding is always the aesthetics or like all the color schemes, the logos. But branding is your actual voice. It's like who you are. And I think we need to see more of that, especially if we are building a presence online and your voice is unique to you. No one can take that away from you.
Yeah, 100%.
Well,
100%.
you absolutely killed it. And I'm just curious, what, if anyone's interested in the season, I call the 12-week program the season, what did you feel was the hardest part about it?
Oh, just to be consistent,
Okay.
honestly. Nothing, because everything else makes sense. I know some of the homeworks maybe I didn't achieve to 100%,
Right. Yeah.
like to do. I just found that this program helped me to find what I feel comfortable with, and as of discovered what I'm not so comfortable. For me, it's hard to tell people how to do certain things because I still feel such a rookie in many aspects, especially in motocross. I think this was a little bit hard for me to, like, for example, do like video how to, because for me I was like, oh my god, who am I to tell,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know
I gotcha.
but I think we need to be exposed to be a little bit uncomfortable,
Yeah.
because this is where you get to know yourself the
Yeah.
most. Like, I honestly would never believe that I would be courageous enough to come on a podcast with you.
Aw.
Like, it was like a dream,
Yes.
but I was like, oh my god, maybe I could do like Slovak podcast,
Yeah.
but not the English one. And
Aw.
no, they really need to hire you, because they need to have someone with a whip. Once in a while you need this, because it's easier to get like, okay, I'm just comfortable do funny videos and just reuse some trending reels, because that's super easy.
Yes. Yeah.
But to get out of that and share something else that's maybe not as easy, that's like when you really like, ooh, this is where it gets interesting.
It does, absolutely. And then yeah, I find it's kind of like a game, and it's like, okay, let's see how this goes. Like, I feel like I'm always testing for myself. I'm testing for myself and seeing kind of what's working, and then I'm able to like share it with you or share it, with other people. And it's like, okay, but everyone's so different. So like what I say might not always be what's working for you. But even like with the homework too, they're just suggestions. It's not like, oh, you have to do it this way. Like you mentioned, if you don't feel comfortable with doing that how to, at least you can like rework something that you know how to do.
Yes.
Because I guarantee you, not like your community, your followers might not know of that one thing that you know very well. Do you know what I mean? So it's just blending it all
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, 100%. And as well, this homework really helped me, or this program helped me to find my strengths that I was even not aware before.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know I'm so funny.
I love it. I always chuckle. I had such a good time. I absolutely love following your journey. And yeah, you absolutely crushed it. So congrats to you. Be proud of yourself, because you did it and you finished.
We did it. We did
Yes.
it. I cannot just take credit for it myself. Thank you so much for being so patient with me.
Of course.
I know.
Anytime. Well, I'm so curious. We're going to get back to the last part here is if you were to whisper in the ear of young Lucia, who was just getting into motorsports, what would you tell her?
Lucy, please try to keep it rubber side down more.
Love it.
Oh my god, 13 broken bones is a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah, I can feel it now.
Yeah, yeah. And would you say like the 13 bones is within the past like 5 years?
10.
10. Oh, since you moved to Canada.
No, I injured myself first time maybe like 12 years ago or 13.
Okay.
I remember I broke my collarbone, and I remember I was in France alone in a bike park because I was working there for a summer.
Okay.
And I remember I just called my dad to tell him that I'm a mountain biker for real now. Because this is what he told me. You are not a real mountain biker until my boyfriend is making funny faces now.
Aw.
Yeah, but my dad just told me you're not a real mountain biker until you break your collarbone. So that's how I sealed the deal.
Oh my God, that's
And after that, I was just going down this. Yeah, because that's exactly when I started to ride bike parks and more like freeride enduro, and I don't even think I will be pushing my limits. I just think I was many times just very comfortable on some feature, and I overshot, or I was with my mind already in other obstacle, and I was not fully present.
right. Yeah, it's true.
So
Our sports, I feel like, ground us.
yes, 100%.
Okay, and then for those that are thinking about getting into snow biking, I know you already gave some advice, but let's say they're just thinking about it, they want to try it, but are nervous. Do you have any advice for that woman?
Women, yeah, 100%. So I would say there is a lot of places now you can rent a snow bike, or if you know a friend that has a snow bike, 100% give it a shot.
Okay.
Like this was the best decision I ever made for winter sport, and it just brings you completely new level of getting to know the country. Like it's incredible. Like imagine that you ride in a forest of trees that no human was there before, because it's so hard to access, and you are there in 2 hours and you are just riding between those trees, and those trees never saw human before. It's super cool. Like I know the sleds can be fun, but I think the snowbikes are just like different kind of dance.
For sure, for sure. Oh, I love it. And a quote you live by.
Never say something is impossible, because there is always someone who doesn't know it's impossible and he will just do it. And maybe replace I can't with maybe I could.
Good one. Love it.
Because many times you're scared to do something and you're like, I can't, and then look how you could actually.
Yeah. Oh, deep.
There's always that.
Love it. Where can we find you on socials?
So I have the most cheesy name in the world. it's a it's a Whistler_motogirl on Instagram, and my real name on Facebook, Lucia Pastorekova. And I started a YouTube channel. Then I hope I will get a little bit more active there in winter for snow bikes. And that one is as well Whistler_motogirl.
Okay.
Yeah.
And actually, I wanted to, when we were talking about content creation, I was going to say, because you have the tools now and you know how to like create the storyboards and kind of like do a little bit of pre-planning as best as you can, like I think your snow biking season is just going to be popping off. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, me too. I'm super motivated.
Yeah.
Because I feel a little bit more at home in snowbikes than in motocross.
Yeah. So, and I would say that was maybe a little bit more of a challenge. As much as you love motocross, I find like you are probably a little bit more passionate when it comes to snowbiking. So I think that's where we're really gonna see you like shine and like get after it. So it's exciting.
Super excited about it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the show. I do have a last rapid fire questions where you just pick one or the other. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
Okay. So 4-stroke or 2-stroke?
4-stroke.
Motocross or snow biking?
Snow biking.
Okay. And this is for snow biking. Would you rather do jumps or drops?
I love drops.
Okay. Weekend warrior or weekday slayer?
Every day.
I
don't know. Weekday. Week has more days.
Okay. And then this is a would you rather. Would you rather snow bike with bluebird skies, but it's -30 degrees, or low visibility with lots of pow? but you can't see.
Oh, I love riding the trees. I take the foggy
The
day.
foggy day.
A lot of time.
Okay. Fair. All right. Well, that wraps it up for our discussion. Oh, thank you so much. I feel like there was so much great value. You've given so many amazing tips and tricks for women who are, thinking about snow biking, are getting into motocross. So thank you. I just had a lot of fun. And again, I know I've said this before, but you are such a great influence when it comes to our community and the motocross and snow biking. And I'm so excited for the winter for you.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to see you on Snowbike with me this winter.
We're going to make it happen. I don't care. We're like, it's done. Like, let's schedule it.
It's happening.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. This is your homework from me.
Yes, I'll be the student this time. And speaking of student, I still want to do a motocross day vlog with you. I know our days are numbered here, but that I really want to make. I want to make that happen.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it, 100%.
Yeah.
Awesome. Looking forward to see you soon. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in today's show. Please rate and review this podcast. I would forever be thankful and grateful. Share it with your friends, family, and whoever you feel would enjoy these types of conversations in the dirt bike, snowmobile, and motorsports community. If you are looking to support the show, I do have a few affiliate links in the show notes. And if you're looking for some confidence in the digital space, learning how to brand yourself, edit your epic sends, and just being the vibe, being your true self, your authentic self, shoot me a message. You can reach me over on my website, angelisaedwards.com. And as always, I am rooting for you, and keep killing it safely, and I'll see you next week.